Hey guys, Joe, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast here, joined this afternoon by Jared Smith of Pickwise. Jared, welcome to the show.
Oh, Joe, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. I've watched your career over the years. Let's talk about it, Jared. First, how was your July 4th?
It was relatively calm. I have a dog, and it was my dog's first July 4th.
Okay.
That was the first July 4th with me, so I didn't know what the fireworks. Sometimes they get very scared, but luckily he's pretty chill. So it was a very uneventful July 4th evening. The weekend was honestly it was pretty relaxing. I actually one of the best holidays to go out and about in New York City is July 4th because no one's here. Everyone goes to the shore, everyone goes to the beaches. So the city itself, in the surrounding area, you want to go out, have dinner, enjoy the surrounding areas. It's pretty low key. So I enjoyed myself, nothing too crazy, and now ready to start the second half of baseball. So it does kind of feel like July 4th is like the halfway point of baseball season. And now we get like the second half, and it's a grind, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a baseball season. Seems to go on forever, especially once football starts. Now, do you have a lot of dog-friendly patios there in New York?
Yeah, so I actually have a balcony, and the big thing, I'm getting the dog to go to the bathroom on the balcony, which is very convenient, so he doesn't have to go out all the time. But the balcony and the patios and the neighborhood dog parks are actually very convenient. I live right across the river in Jersey City, so I'm actually staring at the skyline right now. But I do live in a very dog-friendly area, which is great because honestly, with all the hours that I spend staring at screens, it's nice to have a buddy that I can kind of get away from the sports world. He doesn't care if my bet lost or not. He just wants to eat and go out.
Absolutely. And there goes mine barking right now. Not sure why. So maybe a little jealous. I'm just going to mute myself and stop my foot, and they will stop here. There we go. It's amazing. She doesn't want to stop. It's the Chihuahua, of course, making the drama in the household. The American Staffy never does it. So knock on wood. I don't want to get him started. But Jared, let's talk about your start in the industry. How did you get started?
Yeah, so I've been in the broadcasting space since basically in college. In high school, I kind of knew I wanted to get into broadcasting and journalism. I took the traditional media route, I would say. I worked in radio for a couple years, minor league baseball, and then after a few years doing some college athletics, minor league baseball, some local radio, I finally moved over to the television side. I would say about 5 years into my career. Actually, my first job on TV was a news reporter job in Flint, Michigan. I was being completely dumbfounded by the situations I was thrown into on the news side of the business. I was always kind of a sports guy. Eventually found my way back into sports, found my way back to New York. I'm originally from New York City, and kind of made my way up through some of the local news ranks here in the surrounding areas, the suburbs, News 12, Fios 1 News, and also doing a lot of behind the scenes work for some of the bigger outlets. I worked for MLB.com, SNY, doing some editing and stuff like that. And then kind of had a bit of a hiatus in the financial advising world for a few years, kind of hit a wall with TV when I was, kind of hit 30, 31, 32. And I kind of, pivoted in a bit of a different direction because I had an opportunity to do something that I loved, which was finance and the stock market. Didn't love the 9 to 5 too much. And after a year or two of it, I kind of, got that hankering to get back into TV and broadcasting. And that was right around the time in 2019 when PASPA was repealed and New Jersey was really coming online and starting to build up the market here in this part of the country. And it was a fortunate time that I got connected with SportsGrid right as I was leaving finance, right as the industry on the gambling side was starting to take off. And I built my career at SportsGrid. I loved the people there and building, kind of finding my voice in gambling a little bit, doing a lot of great networking and having some great opportunities with some networks here in town. And then Pixwise came about, and it was just a seamless transition for me to build Pixwise's brand up, which is now one of the more popular, if not the most popular free pick site out there. And it's a joy to do this every day, Joe. Honestly, like I love what I do. I love waking up in the morning, and I love hunting for lines and trying to find value, and then being able to express that to the viewers on a daily basis and create content and just help people. Because it's such a fun space. It's a new space. It's an exciting space. A lot of people are just figuring out what gambling is. It's not taboo anymore. And, being able to, incorporate a lot of the things that I've learned over the years and help people is a lot of fun. And I know I'm very grateful to be doing this every day, no doubt.
I love that you say hunting for lines. It's so true at what we do, looking at these games in the morning, shopping those lines. It really is hunting them.
Yeah, and I think there's two different. I understand that there's two different types of people that bet every day. There's people that are professionals, and that's not really the people that we're catering to with our content every day. There's people that are, I would say advanced beginners. Maybe they're not pros. They don't rely on this for their income every day, but they've been betting for years, and they just like hearing other people's opinions. I would say that is kind of the sweet spot of what we do. And then there's a big, just total, slice of people that are truly new to betting and have really no idea what we do on a daily basis, and they just see the bet and they see the result. And those are the people that I think are the most growth. Those are the people that really, when they learn what hunting really is and they see some of the tricks and the little, shortcuts and the ways that we find value on a daily basis, it gets them interested in it. Kind of like when a kid discovers a sport for the first time and he's like, oh, I can play this sport.
Yeah.
And then he tries to, and then he gets better at it, and then he eventually goes on and does whatever he does. But it really is fun to watch someone, respond to what we do on a daily basis and then learn from it and then react weeks, months down the road and say, oh, I did this thanks to what you told me a month ago. Like that is, I would say, the most rewarding part of what we do every day. And I think connecting with what is a growing audience on a daily basis is a lot of fun because we're only in like the second or third inning of legalization in this country. I think only half the states have legalized sports betting, and even fewer have legalized mobile sports betting, which is really that's the key to unlocking it. And the more states that come online, the bigger your pie grows of audience. And I think it's a lot of fun to watch it grow and to mature along with it.
Oh, absolutely. And you said a statement that I love. It's not taboo anymore to be in this industry. Do you remember the first time when it was kind of like, wasn't as mainstream as it is in 2022 that you told someone that you're in this industry and just the look on their face, like, do you need help? Like, what's going on?
Well, it's funny because I always wanted to, get it. So I've been into gambling since I was literally in high school.
Yeah.
I used to bet offshore on, the websites that we're really not allowed to talk about on our, air too much. I bet them every day, a lot of baseball, a lot of NFL, mostly those two sports, a little bit of college football. And I was a poker player in high school too. I grew up in the Chris Moneymaker era when poker was cool on TV. And
yeah.
I had a pool table in my house growing up in high school, and we never played pool on it. We always played poker on it. So the gambling vibe has always run deep with me. But yeah, it's always been this like shameful addiction that's like taboo. Like it's like, oh, you're a gambler. Like, yeah, I like to play craps. I like to play poker. I like to bet on sports. I like to wager on anything pretty much. I just like to go and I enjoy it. Now it's cool to bet. Like it's part of our daily vernacular when it comes to watching and consuming sports. Even people that thought it was taboo back in the day have accepted it. And I think that level of acceptance is at the highest level now. The leagues are now in bed with all the sports books. So it's totally changed how sports is covered. And covered local sports for a long time and professional sports at the local level. Even at the local level, like for example, I'm talking to local stations across the country about gambling content for their local sports broadcast for, let's say, the Arizona Cardinals in Phoenix. They want to do a segment about the gambling betting and for the Cardinals. So like even at the lowest levels of how we cover sports now, it is kind of seeped in. So it really has changed completely.
Absolutely. Those people that were giving us the side eye have now jumped on the fun bandwagon, I should say, and they're coming along for the ride. So I absolutely love it. I love this industry. What got you excited for sports to start with? Did you play sports growing up? Did you come from a big sports family?
Yeah, my dad. So I was born here in New York. My dad's from the Bronx. Yankees, Giants, diehard football, and baseball. I grew up basically with a baseball in my hand.
Nice.
And football came very soon after that. Those are the sports that I played for the most part growing up. I dabbled a little bit in some of the other sports. And then I picked up golf when I was 10. My grandfather was a scratch golfer. And fortunately, I've been playing golf since I was 10 years old. So I would say those three sports are the ones that I have the most passion for. When it comes to betting, there is no, like, now that I've evolved, my palate has matured a little bit. Honestly, there is no sport that I will not bet on if I see there's an edge. So while it's hard to, I love watching every sport for the most part because I respect the athletes, especially after traveling with a lot of collegiate athletes, soccer, tennis, basketball. Like I respect the grind a lot. So I love watching all sports, but I grew up on football and baseball.
Nice. Now, where did the love for gambling come from?
I think it's competitiveness. It's a great question. I can tell people when I started gambling, but the thrill of it, I do believe, comes from, frankly, ego and competitiveness. I mean, I think everyone that works in this business for sure, and everyone who's a gambler for sure, everyone who's a broadcaster and a gambler, if you're doing that, in simultaneously, then even more so, you have to have a bit of an ego. You have to think that you're right and other people are wrong, or you're right and the market's wrong. And I think that can get you into trouble sometimes. And you have to learn how to keep that ego in check. But at the end of the day, when you hit submit on a bet, you are making a claim. Like, hey, I think this is going to happen. So you have to learn how to accept that. And the mental side of betting, I think, is going to be the next kind of, obstacle that a lot of people deal with in this country as it becomes more popular and more prevalent, because it's a grind.
Absolutely.
It will mess with your head when you make a good bet and you feel like you're on the right side of it, and then something fluky weird happens at the end that costs you it. That affects your next bet, and that is hard to train your mind not to do. But I do think that's a big part of what we do on a daily basis.
Absolutely. So I have to work out how competitive you are. We're in a foot race. I'm ahead of you. What are you doing to win that one?
I'm not a cheater, so I wouldn't do anything dirty. If I'm in a foot race, I have other issues. For example, why did we choose foot race for our competition? Because that would not be the thing that I would choose. But
okay, what kind of competition then, Jared? What are we in?
Free throw shooting contest. I think I would win.
Ooh. That would be interesting.
Closest to the pin on like 100-yard pitch. I think I would do pretty well there.
Just don't play darts and pool against me. I'm pretty good at both.
I think you probably would beat me in darts. I have no experience there at all. Pool, I like to think I'm good, but then I get on a pool table and I'm like, I miss like the easiest shots. But in my mind, I'm a much better pool player than what the actual result is. I think.
We all are. It's just like when we sing in the car. We are rock stars when we're solo.
No, I have no claim to any rock star fame. My voice is terrible. I sang on the show this morning because we do a parlay that my co-host sings for, and sometimes I try and I fail. It's not
Jared, I love it. Tell me what you got going on at Pickwise.
Okay, so we do a daily show called Let's Bet It. It's fun. It's quick. It's fast paced. We cover everything that's happening that day. We do big picture stuff. Obviously, right now we're kind of in that lull where we're figuring out how much NFL and college football content we're trying to weave in on a daily basis. You're going to start to see more of that on a daily basis. We have some fantastic handicappers that come on our show, and when I say fantastic, I mean I love listening to, because we specialize. We have a golf person that comes on right now, Diane Knox-Ballas, who is absolutely crushing it. We had a tennis expert come on today. Basically, we were fortunate, like live as the Djokovic match was playing out, and he was like, "Yeah, let's jump on Joker live plus 150 right now, down 2 sets to love," and he comes back and wins. And we had some fantastic NBA handicappers that came on during the playoffs. So it's a daily, a daily grind, and we take you through it as fun, as entertaining, and as informatively as possible. And then also on the website itself, ton of great cappers dropping picks, free picks. We have an app. And I do a lot of bi-weekly columns covering the futures market, directing, expert insights. So just a lot of really good, sharp, smart content that's entertaining, but also informative.
Yeah, you guys are putting out incredible content, so keep crushing it. I know there's an MLB game you're looking at today. Which one are you looking at here?
Yeah, so I've had a couple of really successful sprints in the MLB season, not only with props, but also with the Nerfies and the Yerfies. I know that, if you've been betting on baseball at all this season and you're connected in social media, I'm sure you've seen those phrases thrown around. Walk props, again, I learn something new every year, Joe. I've been betting baseball since I was 16 years old, for basically 20 years. And I have never in a million years even considered betting a walks prop, a pitcher going over or under a certain number of walks in that outing until about a month or two ago. And again, very short sample size, but it has been a fantastic venture so far. So I have one of each that I'll give out that I gave
Looks
out.
like I'm betting a walks prop today for the first time. I love it. What are we tailing today, Jared?
Yeah. Logan Gilbert over 1.5 walks. So this is the Mariners starting pitcher. It actually starts in about an hour. So you better figure this one out if you want to bet it or not pretty soon. So Gilbert actually hasn't been a guy that's walked a lot of batters this year, but the lineup he's facing today, the San Diego Padres, 16 of the last 23 right-handed starters, Gilbert's a righty, have gone over 1.5 walks against this Padres team. That basically covers the entire month of June and the first few days of July here. And if we widen the sample size to the full season at Petco Park, which is where the Padres play, that's where this game is today, 18 of 25 righties have gone over 1.5 walks at Petco this year against the Padres. So Gilbert's, again, about a coin flip this year, 50% going over this number. But it's the Padres lineup that has been just very patient of late. And I like the vibe of Gilbert, who has more walks per 9 on the road than at home, going over 1.5. I only laid 5 cents for this at DraftKings. So I don't know where the market's moved since this morning, but I would say anywhere between 10, 20 cents is probably fair. And I am betting a Nerfy tonight. I got this at plus money. And I don't know if, again, when I give these out in the morning, people tend to bet them. And as you know, when you have a little decent sized following and you give out bets, the market tends to move pretty fast.
Absolutely.
So I apologize if this is moved to minus money. I probably wouldn't bet this at minus 105 or higher. Maybe at even money I would bet it. But Red Sox Rays on the Nerfy tonight. So no run in the first inning. Jeffrey Springs, Nick Pivetta, 23-3 to this stat on the season, which is a fantastic percentage. And you would think, the public perception, I would say Boston's a really good home team offensively. They're at Fenway Park. It's a hitter's park. They're actually well below average with their first inning run scoring rate this season. And Tampa Bay is also below average on the road. So I think you're getting some public perception throwing this total up a little bit higher than what it should be. I saw the total around 9.
I know. I was shocked. At 9.
And 9 to me is that's pretty high. I mean, you need 10 runs to win.
Yep.
That's a pretty high total in baseball. So I think the bullpens and maybe some other factors are pushing this total up. But I think the starting pitchers, especially early in their outings, based off of the numbers I have with Springs and Pivetta, have been really solid. So I think plus money for a Nerfy, I got plus 105, I think is a very fair bet.
Okay, I love it. I think it's a great way to take that one. I'm running on the under 5 in the first 5, or the under in the first 5. You know what I'm talking about. My computer keeps beeping at me. I'm not sure why. Getting notifications coming in here, Jared. But thank you so much for joining me on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. Can you let everyone know where to follow you and what times your shows kick off so people can catch them daily?
Yes, thank you very much again for having me. At Jared Lee Smith on socials. The show is Let's Bet It on Pickswise, YouTube and Twitter channels. It's 10 a.m. Eastern every weekday and weekend morning. We've been taking some random days off during the summer when there's not much going on, but for the most part, most weeks, 6 out of 7 days at least. And then, of course, you can catch us pickswise.com. Tons of great content. That's really where I would start, and then branch out from there, because the picks and the columns and just the insight and all the resources, I think, are very favorable, especially for new bettors that are really trying to figure out, what this crazy thing we do every day is all about. I think pickswise.com, tremendous resource for you.
Absolutely. You guys make sure you go over and check out Pickswise and give Jared a follow on all his social media platforms. Any TikTok for you, Jared?
I'm on TikTok too. Actually, I was working on a TikTok today. I'm trying to do this new thing where I answer people's questions in my DMs. I've got like 1 million of them, and I do them on TikTok. So I'm on TikTok, same, Instagram and TikTok, same handle, at Jared Lee Smith. Try to keep it nice and uniform for everybody.
Okay, I'm going to go sign up to your TikTok. Can't wait to see the content you're creating on there as well. Jared, thank you so much for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. You guys, I'll be back at the top of the hour with another show. Make sure you check out Jared and Pickwise. Thank you, Jared.